I still love Juan, and I don't care what you think, said Camila, laughing in front of everyone at the party. Mateo just smiled and quietly replied, Great, because I know something that will change your mind. Her face turned pale when he took out a phone and showed a message she would never want to see. The bass thumped through the walls of the South Beach Club, vibrating the floor under Mateo's feet as he weaved through the crowd. He balanced two mojitos, the ice clinking against the glasses, and scanned the room for Camila. She stood near the DJ booth, laughing with friends, her energy pulling eyes like a magnet. Tonight was their night, a celebration of 5 years together, 2 as husband and wife. Mateo had planned a surprise, something to make her smile that way she did when they first met. He caught her eye, raised the drinks, and she waved him over, her laughter cutting through the music. Ready for this? Mateo asked, handing her mojito. His voice carried a playful edge, hinting at the secret he'd kept all week. Camila raised an eyebrow, sipping her drink, and leaned closer. What are you up to now? She teased, her tone light but curious. He just grinned, clinked his glass against hers, and led her to the dance floor. The crowd parted as the DJ switched to their song, a sultry salsa track from their first date. Mateo spun her into a dip, her hand gripping his shoulder, and the room erupted in cheers. Friends hooted, phones flashed, capturing the moment. Camila's laugh rang out, pure and unguarded, and for a second, Mateo felt like the luckiest man in Miami. The dance ended, and they collapsed into a booth, breathless. Camila leaned against him, her shoulder warm against his chest. You're ridiculous, she said, still smiling, but her eyes flicked away, just for a moment, to her phone buzzing on the table. Mateo didn't notice. He was too busy signaling the waiter for another round, joking with their friend Luis about the time they all got stuck on a boat during a storm. The night felt perfect, loud, alive, theirs. Then someone suggested a game. Truth or Dare, called out Sophia, a friend from Camila's gym, her voice cutting through the chatter. The group hooted, dragging chairs into a loose circle. Mateo laughed, game for anything, and pulled Camila down beside him. She hesitated, her fingers tightening around her glass, but joined in, tossing her hair back with a forced smile. The first few rounds were harmless. Luis admitted to crashing his ex's car. Sophia dared another friend to chug a beer. Laughter kept the mood light, the alcohol loosening tongues. The bottle spun, landing on Camila. The group leaned in, eyes bright with anticipation. Sophia smirked, leaning forward. Truth, do you still think about your first love? And if you do, why? The question hung in the air, sharp and unexpected. Mateo's grin faltered, his hand pausing on his drink. Camila laughed, too quick, too loud. I took a long sip. Of course I do, she said, her voice breezy but her eyes avoiding his. Juan, sometimes I dream about him. It's just nostalgia, you know? Old memories. She shrugged, passing the bottle to the next person, but the air had shifted. Mateo stared at his glass, the ice melting into the rum. Juan, her high school boyfriend, the one she mentioned maybe twice in 5 years. The group moved on, the game continuing, but Mateo's thoughts snagged on her words. Nostalgia? Dreams? He forced a smile when Luis clapped his shoulder, but his chest tightened. Camila kept laughing, answering the next question, but she didn't look at him. Not once. Later, as they grabbed ice from the bar, Mateo tried to shake it off. You good? He asked, keeping his tone casual. Camila nodded, too fast. Yeah, just the game. Silly stuff. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. He wanted to ask more, to press, but the crowd surged around them, pulling them back to the circle. Mateo stayed quiet, watching her from the corner of his eye. She was still the life of the party, charming everyone, but her hand no longer brushed his when she laughed. Back at their apartment, the silence hit harder. The club's energy was gone, replaced by the hum of the AC and the distant pulse of Miami's nightlife. Camila kicked off her shoes, dropping her purse on the couch. That was fun, she said, heading to the kitchen. Mateo followed, his steps slow. Yeah, he replied, but his voice was flat. He leaned against the counter, watching her pour water. Juan, you dream about him a lot? The question slipped out, sharper than he meant. Camila froze, glass halfway to her lips. It's not like that, she said, setting the glass down hard. It was just a game, Mateo. Don't make it a thing. Her tone was defensive, her eyes darting to the side. He nodded, jaw tight, and turned away. I'm tired, he said, heading to the bedroom. She didn't follow right away. When she did, she slid into bed without a word, her back to him. Mateo stared at the ceiling, the weight of her words sinking deeper. Nostalgia didn't feel like the whole truth. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the blinds. Mateo woke first, the bed empty beside him. He found Camila in the living room, scrolling through her phone. "Coffee," he offered, trying to reset the mood. She nodded without looking up. He brewed a pot, the machine's hiss filling the silence. As he poured, her phone buzzed again. She snatched it up, her fingers moving fast to lock the screen. Too fast. Mateo's stomach twisted. "Who's that?" he asked, keeping his voice even. "Just work," she said, standing to grab her mug. But her hand shook slightly, and she spilled a drop on the counter. She wiped it away, avoiding his gaze. Mateo didn't push, but the unease grew. He waited until she left for a yoga class, then picked up her phone, left unlocked on the table. A rare mistake. His thumb hovered over the screen. He didn't want to be that guy, the one who snooped, but her words from last night echoed. He opened her messages. There it was. Juan's name, a thread of text stretching back weeks. "Miss you sometimes," she'd written. "Wish we could grab a drink, talk about old times." Juan's replies were eager, suggestive. The latest message, sent that morning. "Meet me at the Rusty Anchor in Coconut Grove. 8 p.m. Just us." Mateo's grip tightened, the phone screen blurring. He set it down, his breath shallow. The woman he'd danced with last night, the one he'd built a life with, was planning to meet another man. Tonight. He didn't confront her when she returned. Instead, he smiled, asked about her class, and made small talk. Camila relaxed, thinking the tension from last night was gone. But Mateo's mind was racing. He wouldn't yell, wouldn't beg. He'd do something better. He opened his laptop, searched for Juan's name, and found a lead, Sophia, Juan's fiancée, tagged in a recent post. Mateo typed a message, his fingers steady. "We need to talk about Juan and Camila. Can we meet?" Sophia replied within minutes. "Tell me everything." By evening, Mateo had a plan. He watched Camila get ready, claiming she was meeting a friend. She left, her perfume lingering in the air. Mateo grabbed his keys, his heart pounding, but his resolve firm. The game wasn't over. It was just beginning. Mateo's car hummed through Miami's neon-lit streets, the ocean breeze slipping through the cracked window. He gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles pale, as he headed toward Coconut Grove. Sophia sat beside him, her arms crossed, scrolling through the screenshots Mateo had sent. Camila's text to Juan, each one a shard of betrayal. "She's meeting him tonight," Mateo said, his voice steady despite the storm in his chest. Sophia nodded, her jaw tight. "Juan told me he was working late. I should have known." Her words carried a bitter edge, but she didn't waver. They had a plan, and neither would back down. At the Rusty Anchor, the bar buzzed with chatter and clinking glasses. Mateo parked a block away, avoiding Camila's line of sight. Sophia adjusted her purse, her eyes scanning the street. "You sure about this?" she asked, not out of doubt, but to confirm their resolve. Mateo met her gaze. She made her choice. Now she faces it. They stepped out, the humid air clinging to their skin, and walked toward the bar's entrance, their steps synchronized with purpose. Inside, the crowd pulsed under dim lights, a live band playing an upbeat reggaeton track. Mateo spotted Camila at a corner table, her back to the door, leaning toward Juan. He was all charm, his hand brushing hers as he laughed at something she said. Mateo's stomach churned, but he swallowed the urge to storm over. Sophia grabbed his arm, her grip firm. "Wait," she whispered. "Let's do this right." She pulled out her phone, opened the message thread, and started typing. Mateo watched, his heart pounding, as Sophia sent Juan a text. "Look behind you." Juan's phone lit up. He glanced at it, then froze, his smile vanishing. Camila followed his gaze, turning just as Sophia and Mateo stepped into the light. The band's rhythm seemed to falter in Mateo's ears, the room narrowing to this moment. Camila's eyes widened, her glass slipping slightly in her hand. "Mateo," she stammered, standing. Juan shifted uncomfortably, his chair scraping the floor. Sophia didn't wait. She marched forward, her voice cutting through the noise. "So this is working late, Juan? Meeting her?" She thrust her phone toward him, the screen displaying his text to Camila. The bar's chatter quieted, heads turning. Camila's face flushed, her hands fumbling for her purse. It's not what you think, she started, her voice shaky. Mateo stepped closer, his expression calm but unyielding. I read your messages, Camila. Just us at 8 p.m.? That's not nostalgia. His words were measured, each one landing like a stone. One tried to stand, but Sophia blocked him. Don't, she snapped. You lied to me for weeks. Both of you. She turned to Camila. You're married. How do you sleep at night? Camila's eyes darted between them, searching for an escape. It was just a drink, she said, her voice rising. We were catching up. Juan nodded too quick. Yeah, nothing serious. But Sophia wasn't having it. She swiped her phone, reading aloud. Can't stop thinking about you. Let's make new memories. That's you won 2 days ago. The crowd murmured, phones now discreetly recording. Camila's shoulders slumped, her defiance crumbling. Mateo didn't flinch. You chose this, Camila, he said. Not me. Sophia turned to the onlookers, her voice loud enough to carry. This is what betrayal looks like. Two people sneaking around, lying to the ones who trusted them. A few patrons clapped, others whispered. Camila grabbed her purse, her movements frantic. Mateo, let's talk at home, she pleaded, reaching for his hand. He stepped back, shaking his head. There's nothing to say. You said it all to him. He nodded toward Juan, who was already edging toward the exit. Sophia followed Juan, her voice sharp. We're done. Don't call me. Juan muttered something, but the crowd's jeers drowned him out as he slipped away. Camila stood alone, the weight of every stare pressing down. Mateo leaned in, his voice low. I'm staying at Luis's tonight. Get your things out by morning. He turned and walked out, Sophia trailing behind. Camila called his name, but her voice broke, swallowed by the music. Outside, Mateo leaned against his car, the adrenaline fading. Sophia lit a cigarette, her hands trembling. You okay? She asked. He nodded, though his chest felt hollow. You? She exhaled, the smoke curling into the night. I will be. Thanks for telling me. They stood in silence, the bar's neon sign flickering above. Mateo's phone buzzed, a text from Camila. I'm sorry. Please, let's talk. He didn't reply. Instead, he drove Sophia home, the city lights blurring past. Back at their apartment, Camila sat on the couch, staring at her packed suitcase. She tried calling Mateo, but he didn't answer. The silence of the room felt suffocating, every corner a reminder of what she'd thrown away. She opened her phone, rereading her text to Juan, each one now a mistake carved in digital ink. She typed another message to Mateo, then deleted it. The truth was clear. She'd crossed a line, and he'd seen it all. Meanwhile, Mateo crashed on Luis's couch, the events replaying in his mind. Luis handed him a beer, his tone serious. You did what you had to. She played you. Mateo nodded, but the victory felt empty. He'd exposed her, protected Sophia, but the life he'd built with Camila was unraveling. He pulled out his phone, opened a lawyer's contact, and typed, Need to talk about divorce. Tomorrow. He hit send, the decision final. Camila, alone, dragged her suitcase to the door. She paused, glancing at a photo of them on the beach, taken last summer. Her thumb brushed the frame, then she set it face down. She stepped outside, the door clicking shut behind her. The night was warm, but a chill ran through her. She wanted to feel something, anything with Juan. Now, she felt nothing but regret. Camila's suitcase bumped along the sidewalk as she walked through Coconut Grove, the morning sun already scorching. Her phone was silent. No calls, no text from Mateo. She'd spent the night at a cheap motel, the hum of a faulty air conditioner drowning out her racing thoughts. Now, standing outside a coffee shop, she dialed her cousin Elena in Orlando. I need a place to stay, she said, her voice low, almost a whisper. Elena didn't ask questions. Come tonight. I've got a spare room. Camila hung up, her hands trembling, and booked a bus ticket. She glanced back at the apartment building, its windows reflecting the sky, and turned away. Mateo woke on Luis's couch, his neck stiff, the events of last night a jagged memory. His phone buzzed with a voicemail from the lawyer. Got your message. Meet me at 10 a.m. to discuss next steps. He stood, splashing water on his face in the bathroom, and caught his reflection, eyes heavy but resolute. Luis was already up, frying eggs in the kitchen. You're doing the right thing, he said, sliding a plate over. Mateo nodded, poking at the food. I just didn't think it'd end like this. Luis shrugged. She chose her path. You're just walking yours. At the law office, Mateo sat across from Ms. Rivera, a sharp-eyed attorney who didn't waste words. Divorce is straightforward since you have no kids or major assets, she said, flipping through papers. We'll file for irreconcilable differences. Any joint accounts? Mateo listed their shared bank account and car lease. Freeze the account today, she advised, and get her name off the lease. He signed the initial papers, each stroke of the pen severing another tie. As he left, his phone lit up with a text from Sophia. Juan's gone. Moved out last night. Thanks for the heads up. Mateo replied, stay strong, and headed to the bank. Camila boarded the bus to Orlando, her suitcase stowed below. She stared out the window as Miami's skyline faded, her mind replaying the bar scene. Sophia's voice, Mateo's cold stare, the crowd's judgment. She opened her phone, scrolling through old photos of her and Mateo, a boat trip, a New Year's kiss, a random Tuesday cooking dinner. Her thumb hovered over his contact, but she didn't call. Instead, she texted Juan, why didn't you tell me about Sophia? His reply came fast. You didn't ask. It's over anyway. She deleted the thread, her chest tight, and leaned back, the bus's rumble lulling her into uneasy sleep. In Miami, Mateo met the bank manager, signing forms to freeze their joint account. She'll get a notice, the manager said, handing him a receipt. Mateo nodded, then drove to their apartment. The place felt hollow without Camila's presence. No shoes by the door, no coffee cups on the counter. He found a note on the fridge. I'm sorry. I messed up. I'm going to Elena's. He crumpled it, tossing it into the trash. The photo frame on the shelf, their beach picture, caught his eye. He left it face down and called the landlord to change the lease. By evening, Camila arrived in Orlando. Elena's house was small, a single story with a cluttered backyard. Elena hugged her, no judgment in her eyes. You eat yet? She asked, setting out a plate of arroz con pollo. Camila shook her head, picking at the food. I thought I could fix it, she said, her voice breaking. Elena listened, stirring her coffee. You can't fix what you broke alone. Give him space. Camila nodded, but the weight of her choices pressed harder. She unpacked her suitcase in the spare room, finding a forgotten letter from Mateo, written on their first anniversary. She didn't read it, just tucked it into a drawer. Mateo spent the evening with Luis and a few friends at sports bar, the Heat game blaring on TV. He didn't mention Camila, and they didn't ask. But when a friend, Marco, clapped his shoulder and said, You're better off, Mateo only sipped his beer. The lawyer's words echoed, straightforward divorce, clean break. Yet the emptiness lingered, not just for Camila, but for the life he'd planned. His phone buzzed with an email from the car leasing company. Camila had missed a payment. He forwarded it to Ms. Rivera, adding, handle this too. In Orlando, Camila found a job posting for a server at a downtown diner. She applied, her fingers moving fast on her laptop, desperate for a distraction. The diner's manager called within hours, offering an interview. Start tomorrow, he said after a quick chat. Camila agreed, her voice steady for the first time in days. She didn't tell Elena about the job, wanting to prove she could stand on her own. But at night, alone, she checked her phone, hoping for a message from Mateo. Nothing came. Mateo, back at the apartment, packed Camila's remaining things, books, a scarf, a pair of earrings, into a box. He didn't linger, didn't let sentiment creep in. He dropped the box at a friend's place, asking them to pass it to Camila's cousin later. His phone rang as he drove back. Ms. Rivera. Papers are filed. She'll be served soon. You want mediation? Mateo paused, the city lights flashing past. No, he said. I want it done. He hung up, pulling into a gym parking lot. He'd signed up for a boxing class that morning, needing to channel the anger somewhere. Camila's first shift at the diner was grueling. Spilled coffee, rude customers, sore feet. But the chaos kept her mind off Mateo. During a break, she overheard co-workers gossiping about a colleague's breakup. He cheated, she left. Done, one said. Camila's stomach twisted. She stepped outside, the night air cool, and checked her phone again. A notification from the bank. Account frozen. She called Mateo, her heart racing, but it went to voicemail. Please, she said, her voice cracking. Just talk to me. She hung up, knowing he wouldn't call back. Mateo hit the punching bag, sweat dripping, each strike sharper than the last. The gym's noise drowned out his thoughts, but not the ache. He'd loved Camila, built a life with her, and now she was a stranger. His phone buzzed, a missed call from her. He didn't listen to the message. Instead, he texted Sophia, You holding up? Her reply was quick. Getting there. Found a new place. You? He typed, moving on, and hit send, the bag swinging under his next punch. Camila sat on Elena's porch, staring at the stars. The diner job was a start, but the silence from Mateo was louder than any crowd. She opened her email, finding a notice from the court, divorce papers served. Her breath caught. She hadn't expected it so fast. She dialed Elena, who was still at work. It's happening, she said, her voice hollow. Elena's response was gentle but firm. You can't change his mind. Focus on you now. Camila hung up, the reality sinking in. The marriage was over, and she'd lit the fuse. Camila wiped down tables at the Orlando diner, the clatter of dishes and chatter of customers filling the air. Her second week on the job, and she'd already learned to dodge rude regulars and fake a smile for tips. Her phone stayed silent. No calls from Mateo, no replies to her texts. The divorce papers sat unopened on Elena's kitchen counter, their weight heavier than the tray she carried. During a lunch rush, she overheard a coworker mention a Miami friend who saw Mateo at a charity run. He looked good, the coworker said. Camila's grip tightened on a coffee pot, but she kept moving, pouring refills, ignoring the sting. In Miami, Mateo laced up his sneakers, joining a group of volunteers at a youth center in Overtown. He'd started helping out after the gym couldn't burn off his restless energy. Today, he coached kids through basketball drills, his voice steady as he called out plays. A teen, Javier, missed a shot and cursed. Mateo clapped his shoulder. Keep going. You'll get it. The kid nodded, trying again. Volunteering gave Mateo purpose, a distraction from the void Camila left. His phone buzzed. Ms. Rivera, the lawyer. Court dates set for next month. Stay focused. He pocketed the phone, passing a ball to Javier, and pushed forward. Camila's shift ended late. She sat on a bus bench, scrolling through old emails, and found one from a mutual friend, Anna, inviting her to a Miami party. Mateo won't be there, Anna wrote. Camila hesitated, then typed a reply, I'll come. She needed to face their old circle to prove she wasn't hiding. Elena, chopping vegetables when Camila got home, raised an eyebrow. You sure about this? She asked. Camila nodded, packing a small bag. I can't keep running. The next day, she boarded a bus back to Miami, her stomach knotted with nerves. Mateo, meanwhile, sorted donations at the youth center, sneakers, backpacks, school supplies. Louis stopped by, tossing him a water bottle. Heard Camila's coming to Anna's party, he said, watching Mateo's reaction. Mateo paused, stacking a box. Her choice, he said, his tone flat. Louise pressed. You gonna show up? Mateo shook his head. I'm done with that life. But as he drove home, the idea gnawed at him. Not to confront her, just to see if she'd changed. He texted Anna, might stop by. Don't tell her. Anna's reply was quick. Your call, man. The party pulsed in a windward loft, music spilling onto the street. Camila arrived, her steps hesitant as she scanned the crowd. Friends greeted her, some warmly, others with guarded smiles. Anna hugged her, whispering, You're okay here? Camila nodded, grabbing a soda, and mingled, dodging questions about Mateo. Then the door opened, and Mateo walked in, his presence quiet but commanding. The room didn't stop, but Camila froze, her soda condenting under her grip. He didn't approach, just nodded to Anna and joined a group by the bar. Camila's pulse raced. She wanted to talk, to explain, but his casual indifference stopped her. She turned to a friend, forcing a laugh, but her eyes kept darting to him. Mateo felt her stare, but kept his focus on the conversation, his voice steady as he joked about a recent game. Anna, sensing the tension, pulled Camila aside. You didn't expect him? She asked. Camila shook her head, her throat tight. I thought I could handle this. Anna squeezed her arm, then talked to him. Clear the air. Mateo sipped a beer, his back to Camila, but he knew she was watching. He hadn't planned to engage, but her presence stirred something. Anger, maybe regret. He excused himself from the group and stepped onto the balcony, the city lights sprawling below. Camila followed, her steps cautious. Mateo, she started, her voice low. He turned, his expression unreadable. What do you want, Camila? No warmth, just a question. She swallowed, stepping closer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. It was a mistake. He leaned against the railing, his eyes narrowing. A mistake? You planned it. I saw the texts. Camila's hands clenched. It wasn't about love. I was lost. I thought one could fix that. Mateo's laugh was sharp, humorless. And now? You fixed? She looked down, her voice breaking. No, I lost everything. I just want you to know I'm trying to be better. He studied her, the woman he'd once promised forever to, now a stranger pleading for understanding. Before he could respond, Anna appeared. Everything okay? She asked, glancing between them. Mateo nodded, stepping back. We're done here. He walked inside, leaving Camila on the balcony. She gripped the railing, tears welling, but didn't follow. Inside, Mateo grabbed another beer, his calm mask hiding the churn inside. He'd wanted closure, but her words only reopened the wound. He left the party early, driving through Miami's quiet streets, the radio off. Camila stayed until the crowd thinned, her mind replaying their talk. Anna drove her to the bus station, offering no advice, just company. You tried, Anna said as Camila boarded. That's something. Camila nodded, but the weight of Mateo's dismissal crushed her. Back in Orlando, she threw herself into work, picking up extra shifts. The diner's chaos was a refuge, keeping her from spiraling. But at night, she lay awake, the divorce papers still unopened, a deadline looming. Mateo met Ms. Rivera the next day, reviewing the court date. She hasn't responded to the papers, the lawyer said. If she doesn't, it'll move faster. Mateo nodded, signing more forms. He didn't want to see Camila in court, didn't want to hear her voice again. After, he stopped by the youth center, helping Javier with free throws. The kid's progress was small, but it grounded Mateo. He was building something new, piece by piece, without her. Camila, back at Elena's, finally opened the divorce papers. The words blurred, irretrievable breakdown, equitable distribution. She signed them, her hand shaking, and mailed them back. Then she called a local shelter, asking about volunteer work. I want to help, she told the coordinator, her voice firm. They welcomed her to sort donations, a small step. As she hung up, Elena knocked on her door. You're stronger than you think, she said. Camila didn't believe it, but she wanted to try. Mateo's phone buzzed that night, a notification from the court. Camila had signed. He set the phone down, staring at the ceiling. The inn was close, but it didn't feel like freedom. It felt like losing a piece of himself he'd never get back. The Miami courthouse loomed under a gray sky, its steps slick from morning rain. Mateo sat in the waiting area, flipping through a legal document, his fingers tracing the final divorce decree. Ms. Rivera sat beside him, checking her watch. It's quick today, she said. No contest, no assets to split. Mateo nodded, his gaze fixed on the door where Camila would enter. He hadn't seen her since the party, hadn't heard her voice since her unanswered voicemails. The clock ticked closer to the hearing. In Orlando, Camila sorted clothes at the women's shelter, her hands moving mechanically, jeans in one pile, sweaters in another. Her volunteer shifts had become a lifeline, grounding her in other struggles. A woman, Maria, thanked her for a donated jacket, her voice soft with gratitude. Camila smiled, the first genuine one in weeks. She'd started journaling after shifts, scribbling thoughts about guilt and rebuilding. Today, she'd written, I broke us, but I'm not broken. She checked her phone, no messages, just a reminder of the court date. She'd signed the papers, sent them back, but hadn't fought. There was no fight left. Mateo stood as the bailiff called their case. Camila walked in, her steps measured, her eyes scanning the room. She saw him, hesitated, then took her seat across the aisle. The judge, a stern woman with glasses perched low, read the terms. Dissolution of marriage, no alimony, accounts already divided. Any objections? She asked. Silence. Mateo stared straight ahead, his jaw tight. Camila's hands twisted in her lap, but she said nothing. The judge's gavel fell, finalizing the end. You're free, Ms. Rivera whispered to Mateo. He didn't feel free, just unmoored. Camila left the courthouse first, stepping into the drizzle. She didn't look back, didn't try to catch Mateo's eye. Her bus to Orlando waited across the street. She boarded, clutching her bag, and found a seat by the window. As the bus pulled away, she opened her journal, writing, It's over. I thought I'd feel empty, but I feel possible. The word surprised her, a spark of something new. She'd enrolled in a community college course, psychology, to understand herself and help others. The shelter had offered her a part-time role, counseling women. She accepted, starting next week. Mateo drove to the youth center after the hearing, the rain streaking his windshield. Javier, the teen he coached, was waiting, dribbling a basketball. "You late, coach?" he teased. Mateo forced a grin, joining the drill. "Work on your pivot," he said, tossing the ball. The kid's energy pulled him out of his head, their laughter a reminder of why he kept showing up. Later, he checked his phone, a message from Sophia. "Heard it's done. You okay?" He replied, "Getting there. You?" Her response, "New job, new start. We'll make it." He pocketed the phone, feeling lighter. In Orlando, Camila's first counseling session was nerve-wracking. She sat across from a woman, Lisa, who spoke of leaving a toxic relationship. Camila listened, nodding, asking gentle questions. "What made you decide to leave?" she asked. Lisa's answer, strength she didn't know she had, hit Camila hard. She saw herself in Lisa's story, her own choices clearer now. After the session, she stayed late, helping organize a fundraiser. The shelter's director praised her. "You're a natural," she said. Camila's chest warmed, a flicker of pride. Mateo took the kids to a local court for a scrimmage, cheering as Javier sank a three-pointer. After, they grabbed pizza, the team joking about bad calls. Mateo laughed, his first real one in months. He'd started a side project, mentoring at-risk teens, teaching them skills beyond basketball. It wasn't just a distraction, it was a purpose. That night, he found Camila's old anniversary letter in a drawer. He read it, her words from happier times, then folded it away. No anger, just acceptance. Camila's college class started, a small group in a cramped room. She took notes, her pen flying, ideas sparking. During a break, she overheard classmates planning a study group. "Join us," one said. She did, staying late to debate theories. At the shelter, she led her first group session, guiding women through goal setting. One thanked her, tears in her eyes. Camila drove home, Elena's porch light glowing. She wrote in her journal, "I'm not who I was. I'm someone I'm choosing to be." Mateo met Luis for coffee, updating him on the divorce. "It's final," he said, stirring his espresso. Luis nodded. "You're good, man. Stronger than most." Mateo shrugged, but the words landed. He'd signed up for a half marathon, something he'd never done with Camila. Running cleared his mind, each step a move forward. At the youth center, he proposed a new program, job training for teens. The director approved it, and Mateo spent nights planning, his focus sharp. Camila's phone buzzed one evening, a text from Anna. "Saw Mateo. He's doing good, helping kids. You okay?" Camila typed back, "I am. Thanks." She didn't ask for details, didn't need them. Her life was here now, classes, counseling, late nights at the shelter. She'd stopped checking Mateo's social media, stopped hoping for a call. At the fundraiser, she spoke to donors, her voice confident. A local paper featured her work, calling her a beacon of hope. She clipped the article, taping it to her wall. Mateo ran the marathon, his breath steady, the crowd cheering. Javier and the team waved signs, shouting his name. Crossing the finish line, he felt the weight lift, not gone, but lighter. He took the kids for ice cream, their chatter filling the gaps in his heart. Later, he found Camila's letter again. This time, he didn't read it. He placed it in a box with other memories and closed the lid. His phone pinged, an email from the youth center confirming his program's funding. He smiled, typing a response. Camila sat with Lisa at the shelter, reviewing job applications. "You've got this," Camila said, handing her a resume guide. Lisa hugged her, a small victory. Driving home, Camila turned on the radio, a salsa song playing. She didn't change it, didn't flinch. She hummed along, the road ahead clear. Her journal entry that night was short. "I'm enough." She closed a notebook, ready for tomorrow. Mateo stood on the court, watching Javier coach younger kids. The cycle was turning, his work rippling outward. He didn't think of Camila anymore, not with anger, not with longing. He thought of the kids, the program, the next race. The divorce was a scar, not a wound. He was free, not from her, but for himself.